everyone, Sinbad, the larger-than-life comedian with the towering frame, the wild 90s fashion, and the kind of energy that could make a whole room explode with laughter, has always been known as the man who could find humor in anything. Whether it was his legendary stand-up specials, his roles in A Different World, Necessary Roughness, First Kid, or Jingle All the Way, Sinbad's talent and charisma made him one of the most recognizable entertainers of his generation. But in recent years, Sinbad has been trending again, not for a new movie or a viral joke, but because of a heartfelt, emotional confession that took the internet by storm. A confession that pulled back the curtain on decades of pain, perseverance, and personal battles that most fans never knew about. For years, Sinbad kept quiet about his struggles, always putting on the same big smile and positive energy that made people love him. But now, with time, tragedy, and healing shaping his perspective, he's decided it's finally time to tell the truth. Everything about the fame, the fall, the near-death experience, and the long road back that almost cost him everything he ever worked for. Born David Adkins on November 10, 1956, in Benton Harbor, Michigan, Sinbad grew up in a working-class family with strict military discipline and deep faith. His father, a Baptist minister, was a man of principles, and his mother instilled in him a sense of humor that would one day become his calling card. Sinbad joined the Air Force after college, but got into trouble for his rebellious streak. Cracking jokes during drills, getting written up for talking back to officers, and ultimately realizing that he wasn't built for military life. He left the service with nothing but a suitcase and a dream: to make people laugh. He started performing stand-up comedy anywhere he could, at bars, talent shows, and military bases, adopting the name Sinbad because he wanted to sound adventurous, like the legendary sailor who faced impossible odds but always came out alive. That name would prove prophetic. Sinbad rose to fame in the late 1980s and early 1990s, an era when black comedy was exploding into the mainstream. He was clean, funny, and different, a rarity in an industry that often demanded shock value. Unlike most comics of his generation, Sinbad refused to use profanity in his routines, focusing instead on real-life situations, family life, and relationships. His stories about growing up poor, dating disasters, and his strict parents resonated across races and generations. His specials Brain Damaged, 1990, and Afros and Bell Bottoms, 1993, became instant classics, and his reputation as a family-friendly comedian earned him a unique space in Hollywood. He starred on A Different World as Coach Walter Oakes, became a household name with The Sinbad Show, and appeared in major films alongside Arnold Schwarzenegger and Phil Hartman. At his peak, Sinbad was everywhere, on TV and movies, hosting award shows and selling out theaters. But fame, as he would later reveal, came with hidden costs, financial pressures, industry politics, and the weight of always having to be on for everyone else. Behind the laughs, Sinbad was quietly struggling with the kind of stress and insecurity that fame amplifies. Hollywood loved him for being clean and approachable, but it also boxed him in. He was told he wasn't edgy enough, that his comedy was too nice, and that studios didn't know how to market a wholesome black comedian in an era that favored raunchy or controversial material. He turned down roles that didn't align with his values, and while that decision earned him respect, it also cost him opportunities. As the late 90s came and went, his career slowed down, and financial problems began to mount. In 2009, Sinbad filed for bankruptcy, later admitting that he had made poor business decisions and trusted the wrong people with his money. "I wasn't broke because I spent too much," he said. "I was broke because I tried to help too many people." His generosity, the same heart that made fans adore him, had left him drowning in debt. But Sinbad didn't stop working. He kept touring, doing TV cameos, and staying connected to his fans. Then, in 2020, tragedy struck. Sinbad suffered a massive ischemic stroke that left him partially paralyzed and fighting for his life. For months, his family kept the news private, unsure if he would survive. When they finally went public, the world was stunned. The man known for his boundless energy was now learning to walk again. Launched a website called The Journey Forward, where they shared updates on his recovery and asked for support. The outpouring of love from fans around the world was overwhelming, proof that Sinbad's legacy of kindness had not gone unnoticed. But what most people didn't know at the time was just how close he came to never coming back. In a recent viral confession, Sinbad opened up about that dark period of his life and what it taught him. Speaking with raw honesty, he admitted that his recovery has been one of the hardest battles he's ever fought. "I died and came back," he said in one interview. "When you're in that space between life and death, you see things differently. You see who you really are." He revealed that the stroke left him unable to move his left side, and that for months he couldn't speak properly. He spent 2 years in grueling physical therapy, relearning how to walk, talk, and even smile. There were moments, he said, when he wanted to give up, when the pain felt unbearable, and the thought of never performing again broke his heart. But it was his faith and his family that kept him going. His wife Meredith and his children, Royce and Paige, refused to let him slip away. "My family fought for me when I couldn't fight for myself," Sinbad said. "They believed when I didn't." His confession also addressed the mental and spiritual toll of recovery. For a man who built his identity on laughter and connection, being confined to a hospital bed and stripped of his independence was devastating. "I used to walk on stage and make thousands of people laugh," he said. "Now I had to learn how to stand up on my own again." He described moments of deep depression, questioning why God had allowed this to happen. But over time, he began to see his survival as a second chance, a divine reset. "I thought I was done," he said. "But God said, no, you've still got work to do." His words struck a chord with fans, not just because they were heartfelt, but because they came from a man who had always embodied positivity, even in hardship. In that same confession, Sinbad also addressed one of the strangest pop culture myths attached to his name: the Shazam Mandela effect conspiracy. For years, fans swore that Sinbad had starred in a 90s genie movie called Shazam, a film that never existed. The internet insisted that the movie had been real, creating entire theories to explain the erased film. For a long time, Sinbad played along, joking about it in interviews. But now, with a new sense of clarity, he finally told the truth behind it. "I never made no genie movie," he said. "But I see now what it really means. People want to remember the good times. They want to remember when they laughed. And I guess that's the legacy. I made people remember joy." Sinbad's confession wasn't just about survival or myth-busting. It was a meditation on purpose, resilience, and gratitude. He talked about how fame once made him feel untouchable, but the stroke humbled him. It made him realize that life's real riches aren't in awards or money, but in love, laughter, and legacy. He said, "If I never perform again, I still won, because I made people smile, and that's eternal." His words carried the weight of someone who has truly faced mortality, who's seen the other side and come back with wisdom. Today, Sinbad continues his rehabilitation, slowly regaining strength, surrounded by family, friends, and a community that refuses to forget him. His story has inspired thousands of fans and fellow entertainers to appreciate the fragile gift of life. Dave Chappelle, Arsenio Hall, and countless others have praised his courage, calling him a warrior and a living miracle. In a world obsessed with youth and fame, Sinbad's journey reminds everyone that true greatness isn't measured by box office numbers or viral clips. It's measured by impact, by how many hearts you touch. So when Sinbad's confession went viral, it wasn't just another celebrity revelation. It was a wake-up call, a sermon, a masterclass in humility and endurance. It was the moment when the comedian who once made us laugh until we cried made us cry because we finally understood the man behind the laughter. His story is about pain, yes, but also about grace, about falling down and getting back up when the world least expects it. And maybe that's the final punchline of Sinbad's extraordinary life. After all the fame, all the ups and downs, all the myths and miracles, the man who made millions laugh found his greatest strength in silence, faith, and truth. Because sometimes the most powerful confession isn't the joke, it's the testimony behind it. Thanks for watching.